Okay, just to be preview everybody's time, I'm going to go ahead and get started and do my quick intro. My name is Jessica Vasher. I'm the manager of the community engagement department at Gleaner Life, and we're excited to be hosting this trip for next year. Some of the people on the call today are already signed up, and I know there are some that are considering it. So we're glad that you are here today to learn a little bit more about the Canadian trip from Tracey with Premier World Discovery. So a couple housekeeping things. In your email, I'm just going to go ahead and recap those. Make sure that you are, a couple more coming in. In order to make sure that this process goes smoothly, we do ask that you mute. It does look like everybody is muted at this time. If you are muted, just make sure that if you go to talk, you check and make sure that your microphone, if it has a slash through it, that means you're muted. And if you need to speak, you're going to want to go ahead and click that to speak when it's appropriate. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to get familiar with your raised hand icon. If you're on the app, that's going to let me know that you would like to speak. It's up at the top. I'll go ahead and click it. It's going to let me know who would like to speak when we go to questions and answers, and then I can call on you appropriately. The next thing is if you're having a problem with your Wi-Fi or maybe the connection isn't going well and your camera is on, you're going to want to go ahead and turn that camera off. You'll still be able to see us, but we won't be able to see you, but that will help with your bandwidth. And let me just check my notes, and I think that's it. One more thing. We do have a chat. I'll go ahead and throw a chat up there right now. And if you are not comfortable speaking out loud, or if you have a question that kind of comes up during the presentation, we'll be sure to answer those, whether it's appropriate during Tracey's talk or maybe at the end. And for those of you that are calling in, we just ask that you state your name before you unmute to talk or before you reach out so that we know who we're speaking with today.
Oh, great. Nothing deep fried or greasy and bad.
All right, we got somebody who's unmuted, so I'm going to go ahead and mute you, and then I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Tracey. Some of you might know her familiar face from the last webinar that we did for the Sedona trip, but Tracey is with Premier World Discovery, and I'm going to go ahead and let her take it away.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm so excited. Most importantly, before we begin, please share the word, right? Let your other members know, your family members know. It's a really exciting opportunity to travel. And this trip is a beautiful scenic trip of a lifetime. And what's nice is it's a year from now. So we have lots of time to save and plan and prepare for this exciting adventure. So let's go ahead and get started. Before I talk about our tour, for those of you that haven't met me before, don't know who I am, my name is Tracey Schenk. I am coming to you from Livonia, Michigan. So I'm here in our home state as well. I was born and raised here. I got my 3 kids, and I started in this industry 35 years ago in 1990. I have been so blessed to have been all over the world, and I still keep traveling. I keep on going, and I absolutely love it. So you're in good hands, I promise you. If you're not familiar with Premier World Discovery, it's because we are kind of a boutique company, a mid-sized company that has been around 26 years. We're based in California, and I only mention that in case you ever need to call our office. Make sure you call about, after 12. But all of our tours are designed and created and packaged for active adults, right? It is very important that you know that this is, obviously people of different ages love to travel with us, but it is definitely designed that way. And we have all the important travel affiliations and stamps of approval that are needed in our industry. We do 80 worldwide destinations, but Jessica and I, we kind of get together and pick and choose. She's really, really wonderful at putting out surveys and seeing what people want and narrowing it down, right, to the choices. So we were listening, and this is the one that people chose. We have an inside team and an outside team. So I am part of the outside team. We have reps all over the country, but our inside team is so great there for you. And the support, if you need them, you can always contact Jessica, who can direct you to me, or you can contact our office for anything you need with billing or questions about the tour. If you've never done a group tour like this is a really unique opportunity. Exclusive group travel is nice for what the biggest thing is that we do all the work. We do all the planning. We do your airfare. You don't have to do anything. You can sign up and then the tour all comes together. What's nice also, and you may not be aware of this, is when you're in a group like this, everything is discounted. All the puzzle pieces on a tour, like your air, your hotel, your meals, your sightseeing is all discounted because you're in a group. And they package it all up in this perfect little package with a bow on it. And then we have this tour available to you. And what's nice about this particular tour is this is exclusive only for Gleaner. So it makes it a really special experience for all of you. We do offer travel protection. It can be found on the flyer, and I'll talk more about it a little bit later, but do consider, thinking about adding that for peace of mind. About 2 weeks prior to your trip, so next year, about 2 weeks prior, we will do what's called a final document briefing. We'll meet again like this in a Zoom setting, and I will go through all your documents with you. They'll be mailed to your home, and I will be going through them, every detail from clothing to money to your airline tickets to, all the details you'd want to know we'll cover. All of our tours are by plane, so you'll be flying to Canada, and there are other cities available. So if we have other members who are from other states, we can still fly you from your home city to the destination. You do not have to come to Detroit to fly from here. You can fly from your home city, and we will have you meet up with the rest of the group. This is what I call airport duty. So if any of you were on the trip last year with us, or I guess it was 2 years ago, I do what's called airport duty. I will go there when you're departing and make sure the check-in goes smoothly. I will be there when you get back, make sure that everyone gets their bags and gets transportation home, make sure you get all taken care of, and just kind of assist with that as well. On the tour itself, you will have a professional trained tour director who's going to manage everything for you, as well as traveling via deluxe motor coach, usually like a 55, 56 passenger, beautiful coach to travel through the countryside. We will be handling all your luggage. Now, the nice thing about this tour is it's really just one hotel, so we'll be handling your luggage to and from. Meals, there is meals on this trip, particular on the itinerary shows each letter, but you have breakfast every day and multiple dinners included. This is another important thing to point out to you. We offer a booking discount. So let me explain how payments work. We have a deposit and a final payment, 2 payments to our office. Your deposit can be paid whenever you want to make that. It's first come, first serve. Again, this is an exclusive group. So deposit will be due anytime. It's $400, or I think it might be $600 for Canadian. I'll have to look at the end of this slideshow. I'll let you know. But you can make that by check or credit card, whatever you want. We do not charge any credit card fees. You're welcome to use a credit card. However, if you can make that final payment on time with a check, or money order, personal check, things like that, we will deduct $100 right off the price of your trip. So that's on the back of the flyer, more details to come, but certainly consider doing that if you're able to. And if you're going to mail in your final payment, I just recommend that you do it by tracking, you track it. So let's go ahead and begin this adventure. So Majestic Canadian Rockies, this trip is just what it is. It is probably one of the most scenic places you'll ever go. You have for those of you that love nature and you love this beautiful land, right, that we live on, this particular tour is August 23rd to the 28th. It's a blend of a little bit of everything. Very different than what you might find here in the States. There's just a little bit of a unique scenery there with their majestic mountains and things. Just fantastic. But the best part about it, it's a one hotel stay. So those of you that went to Sedona with us did the same thing. We stayed in one hotel for the entire trip. This tour is an activity level 2. What that means is it's fairly easy. So for those of you that might be a little bit physically challenged, no worries. This is a tour that we do not take you anything that would be too strenuous for you. And you can do as much or as little walking as you want on this tour. You'll see so much from very, very easy. But we're flying round trip to Calgary. Okay, so our hotel, I'll show you, we have a few different properties. We'll do 5 nights in Banff with 8 meals included. You have 5 breakfasts, 1 lunch, and 2 dinners. Again, you'll fly into Calgary. Usually on our first day, we really don't have anything specific planned because it's a travel day. Everyone's pretty tired. So the tour guide will kind of take you around, show you some things, get you settled in, and then we'll transfer actually through the Bow Valley Parkway. So Bow Valley Parkway is kind of, it's named after bows, like bow and arrows, made by the indigenous people, so that lived in the land, right? That in the local, they use local reeds to make them. So it's, the earth has always been used in this area is so beautiful. So right from the start, as you're driving into Banff, these are your views. This is the aerial view of Bow Valley. Spectacular. The city of Banff. Now I'll tell you, I was telling Jessica, my sister lived in Calgary. She married a Canadian, and we spent a lot of time here. And Banff is so charming. It's a year-round city. Or town, I guess I'll call it a town, but it's kind of nestled in a valley surrounded by the mountains. It is certainly, it's Canada's highest town. So, and it's named after, it's a Scottish name, obviously. So very clean, very welcoming and inviting, and just, you're swallowed up by this beautiful mountain range surrounding it. Now we have a couple different hotels that we use. I'm going to show you our few options. And what happens is right before your tour, we will select the hotel that is available and fits best and that can take everyone, but they're all so beautiful. They're upscale rustic, I like to call them, right? So they're quite fancy, but still have that rustic feel to them. So we have, oops, I forgot to mention the name, the Banff Park Lodge or the Banff Caribou Lodge. And again, this is your home for 5 nights. So we want you to feel comfortable, and the hotels themselves are important because when you have your downtime, you want to be able to explore and enjoy the property. The other one is the Banff Ptarmigan Inn for 5 nights too. So here are the 3 hotels we use. As we get closer, we'll know exactly which one, and I'll be able to let you know by that final meeting. So that first night, we kind of get settled. We have a welcome dinner. Everyone gets together and celebrates their arrival in Canada, and then boom, next day we are off and running. Now I'm going to say this just because, pictures. And these are my favorite pictures of any PowerPoint presentation I do. And let me tell you something, these are pictures. So imagine it's this beautiful in a photo. Imagine what it's like standing there, taking a deep breath of this mountain air and looking over this majestic beauty. So day 2, we're going to explore the majestic Canadian Rockies. That's the largest subarctic ice field in North America. And it is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, meaning it has been deemed very important in the world because of its nature, its beauty, its wildlife, and that as well. This I had to throw in because this cracks me up. You will share the road with the wildlife in the Canadian Rockies. You never know what you're going to see on the highway. I love that. All the pictures are great, but the bottom right corner, we have this big elk just like walking across, excuse me, and he's blocking traffic. This is what it's like up in this area. So you definitely share the road. You just catch a glimpse sometimes when you least expect it. The bus might stop and there might be a beautiful wildlife animal on the side of the road, and we get pictures and enjoy the experience, or get stopped by one. So on day 2, as we journey out our day, and we have our breakfast and we head out in the morning, and one of the highlights, of course, is the Valley of the 10 Peaks. So the Valley of the 10 Peaks has obviously all these different mountain ranges, some of the big ones, Mount Fay, Mount Little, Mount Bolin, all the names of them, obviously. But this was the native people there were the Nakota Indians. And so this is very sacred land and very beautiful. So it's lovely to learn about the native Indians that lived here and dwelled here. They had their own language. The names of these mountains are actually found carved into the walls of the mountains with numerals. And they were done back before, when they just had that as well. And these 10 peaks were shown on the money, on the back of the Canadian money in 1969 and 1979 on the Canadian 20, right? Just beautiful. The best part, look at the reflection from the 10 peaks on Moraine Lake. That's one of the highlights if you catch that sun just right. So when you see these lakes all in this area, the silt that comes down, it's suspended in the water, and it's from the glaciers. So what happens is the sun hits it, and then it's all very turquoise, and then you get this beautiful reflection. So you cannot imagine the beautiful scenery, especially Moraine Lake and the Valley of the 10 Peaks. So this is our kind of journeying through on and off the bus, taking pictures and capturing the beauty of this area. Another famous lake in the Canadian Rockies is Lake Louise. And Lake Louise was named after Princess Louise, the fourth daughter of Queen Victoria. So named in the late 1800s. And again, quite beautiful. And this area was discovered by the Canadian Pacific Railroad employee who found this beautiful area. So another very, very famous spot to see. Oops, I'm jumping ahead. Sorry. And some of the wildlife, and people maybe don't realize the different magnitude of the wildlife here. We're north. We're very far north. So you're getting a little bit more of some of the unique animals, and some may be very elusive. You might know wolves are very hard to see, but sometimes you get lucky and see wolves. Cats and elk are everywhere, and they're so big and beautiful. You have an opportunity to enjoy some of the wildlife, and of course the bears that we are all want to see. Everyone wants to see the bear, right? And so hopefully you'll capture a glimpse of some bear and horned animals. But these beautiful horned animals live on this rugged mountainside, just climbing. I don't even know how they can do it, but overlooking the mountains and the water. There's an elk shot of a beautiful elk. They're just majestic and incredible. So lots of wildlife to enjoy while you're in the Canadian Rockies. Let's hope you see the moose is the biggest, strongest, top of the chain there in Canada, but they're very, 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 very wonderful to see them as well. It would just be such a life-changing thing. Now we're going to take you through Kicking Horse Pass. So Kicking Horse has it's the highest mountain pass, and it leads to the Yoho National Park. So as you drive through this pass, you'll see some of the best. This is all still on day 2, mind you. This is all still the second day as we're traveling, and you'll see glaciers and everything. But the Yoho National Park, this is famous for their Burgess Shale fossils. This national park, these lands are 520 million years old. I mean, this is like, the word Yoho actually means awe or wonder, right? So this park is known for their waterfalls and their lakes and their mountains, and you will capture that turquoise color again because of the silt and the way the sun hits it and it reflects. Here's some of the natural bridges and things. And if you look in this picture to the far left, there's some people standing where the bus would drop off, and you can walk over and get up close and personal with some of this beautiful, beautiful scenery and these natural rock bridges. So the Yoho National Park also has this kind of historic spot here that talks about the spiral tunnels. This was in the early 1900s, an engineering marvel and design of these spiral tunnels, and how in the world they were able to build passes for the railroad to get through these mountains is truly magnificent. Engineering, just genius, right? So it's really neat to learn about that as well, and about the spiral tunnels, they call them. So it's all part of the experience as well through the Yoho National Park. Emerald Lake is another stop that you'll see, and again known for its color with the name alone, right? Emerald Lake. So you'll have an opportunity to just see some magnificent scenery again on and off the bus. And this lake also is got that reflection. This is a really great moment. If you look in this picture, you can see that reflection. It's just spectacular. Look at that. Glaciers and mountaintops and forests and greenery. Now, the Chateau Lake Louise on Victoria Glacier is a iconic, famous spot in Canada. It's very, very, very big. Believe it or not, in the late 1800s, this was a log cabin. The railroad came in and built this log cabin in this location. Can you imagine this perfect spot? And now, of course, it had burned, unfortunately, in 1924, but then they rebuilt it as a luxury property. And it is obviously got the best location. And also, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And again, when I say that word, this is something that there are certain locations around the world that are deemed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, meaning like people come from all over the world to find these UNESCO sites, and this is one of them. It's spectacular. But let me tell you something. The Chateau Lake Louise, unless you're staying there or dining there, you are not even allowed to go inside. But guess what? We are, forgive my dog, we are taking you inside the Chateau Lake Louise for lunch. And this is an experience in itself. And I promise you, I've walked through this place. Not only is it big and majestic, but I have sat right here in this dining area. This is where you'll have lunch overlooking Lake Louise and the glacier, Victoria Glacier. There's nothing like it. And I promise you, without a reservation or without staying in this property, you can't even step foot inside. So this is a really special treat and part of the experience. And again, I know sometimes when you look at the price of a tour, you think, oh my gosh, what does it entail? This is why we make this very special. If you're going to go there once in your life, we want these extra special things. You're going to love the Chateau Lake Louise. And then on day 3, we're going to take you through the Banff area. Now, what's nice about, again, is all this is within such a short drive of your hotel and your resort, but this is actually Banff, overlooking like an aerial view of your hotel and of the town of Banff. So throughout this day, you're going to see some of the most famous iconic spots that are, things that are surrounding the city of Banff, one being Mount Rundle. This is visible from your hotel and from town. This is actually a very rugged mountain that is got for experienced hikers. Like this is where hikers come from all over the world to hit Mount Rundle. It's made of limestone. It's got the snow caps and it's visible from everywhere and quite beautiful. And of course, more beautiful photos that I can't resist putting them in. The Bow Falls is another thing we'll be visiting from there as well. And they are just this, unlike like Niagara Falls is one drop off. This is a bunch of different falls that all kind of come together through this rugged, but this is glacier water. So it comes down, it's very cold and very beautiful. And again, as you stand there, your camera is got, some of the such beautiful scenery around the Bow Falls. And then Tunnel Mountain, of course, is another. This is an area that overlooks Banff. So we're kind of going around this area, doing this scenic drive, and also learning about the hoodoos. So if you see down below, there's those spires, those like rock hoodoos. The hoodoos are actually, this is known as the land of the sleeping giants. And they're formed from erosion. And our native ancestors or the native Indians that lived in this area, native community, found this to be a very sacred land. Herbs and plants and healing powers from this area. So it's very, very lovely. There's some more pictures of some hoodoos from a different angle. It's so pretty. And this is what they look like. So you kind of drive around them and it's truly breathtaking. We're going to take you to the top of Sulphur Mountain. So those of you that have a little bit of, here we go, going to the top of the mountain, but I promise you this is a highlight of the trip. You're going up 8,000 feet to the top of Sulphur Mountain. And at the top is a restaurant, an observation deck, a gift shop. We give you lots of time to just take a deep breath and take it all in. It's 360 all the way around you at the top of the Sulphur Mountain. It's incredible. So once you get up there, there's actually a walking path that you can go down again. Those of you that are able can walk down. They have ramps to get down there. And then, of course, you have this panoramic view of Banff and the surrounding areas. So this is where lots of people and there's placards telling you what you're looking at and a viewing, camera there as well. But really, really quite an amazing experience. It looks like they're standing in front of a backdrop, doesn't it? Like a screen with a picture. So really, really quite lovely to spend the day there. And then you'll have that afternoon to yourself. So usually on a day like that, we would try to end the day a little bit early, maybe after lunch. We take you maybe 2, 3 o'clock back to town, and then you have the afternoon to take a deep breath and take it all in and enjoy. Maybe even go visit the Banff Springs Hotel, which is a very famous resort, again, in Banff as well. So you can do that on your free time. On day 4, we have another full day of adventure for you. First thing we're going to be doing is heading on the Icefields Parkway. So with the Icefields Parkway, if you're not familiar with what an ice field is, obviously, this road goes through Jasper and Banff National Parks. So this road has over 600 glaciers on this highway and 6 different ice fields. And of course, your mountains and snow-capped and maybe some animals across the road, lots of rugged, landscape and beautiful, beautiful forests filled with pine trees and all kinds of jaspers and beautiful, beautiful scenery. And it's a really, really lovely experience to do the Icefields Parkway. Look at that. Remember I mentioned the glaciers? Those are glaciers. You drive right into this. There's nothing like it. Anywhere I've ever been, I promise you, I've been all over the world. There is nothing like this scenery that you will find. Jasper National Park, again, as we drive through it, it'll be kind of a stop and go for scenery. And Jasper is the largest in the Canadian Rockies. It's 4,200 square miles of beautiful scenery. Also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So again, you're really hitting those. And then, of course, known for its wildlife, mountains, and stargazing. So really a neat area. Bow Pass, we drive through this area, and a lot of these are valleys, right? So your elevations will change throughout the trip. Peyto Lake, very, very famous because it's known for its the turquoise waters. And we will definitely make a stop here to capture this magnificent scenery here in this picture as well. So you'll get to enjoy that. And Peyto Lake is spectacular. And there it is. Again, glacier waters. So you get that bright turquoise. And there's lots of wildlife in this area. You will see lots of elk. They are everywhere. They're huge and beautiful animals and horned animals and all that and whatever else you can find. But notice how clear the water is. Again, this is all just part of the whole beauty of it. And here are a couple moose walking across the highway. Again, you just don't know when that can happen, but it's definitely part of the thrill of the experience. Also on day 4, we'll bundle up a little bit and we're going to take an ice explorer out onto a glacier. These trucks are designed to actually take you out into a glacier, drive on board, you step out and you go out and see the literally up close and personal on a glacier. And what's neat is you'll have guides there telling you about the geology, right? You forget not only is it scenic and beautiful, but there is geology involved here, layers and layers and layers of millions of years of history and snow-capped mountains. So even though it's August, I had a group there this year and they had some snow and they were like, we had a snowball fight in Canada at the glacier because they were like, oh my gosh, it's August and we're having a snowball fight. So certainly a really, really incredible once in a lifetime experience to get on a glacier, right? And then on day 5. So day 5 is your last day. And it's funny, this is exactly how it was laid out in Sedona last year or 2 years ago. We have a down day on day 5. And you after going and traveling, we love the down day because this is where you have an opportunity to either go into town, meet the locals, find a coffee shop, get familiar with your surroundings, find some gift shops, do things that you want to do. We will offer an optional tour to Calgary to go visit a city tour of Calgary with the Heritage Park Historical Village. Calgary is about 90 miles from Banff, and it's the home of the Stampede, right? Calgary's kind of a a cowboy town, interestingly enough. Like, it's very kind of Western feel to it. That's where my sister lived, but it's old and new. So it's got this beautiful blend. You'd have an opportunity to go into Calgary. We go up on the Calgary Tower. We do the panoramic view. You have a full tour. We talk about the Stampede Park and the Saddle Dome, all that in Calgary, and then also visit the Heritage Historical Village. So it's the largest living museum and Calgary's most visited tourist attraction. Of course, a recreated village of what life was like in the turn of the century in Alberta, Canada, right? So they're dressed in their period clothing, horse-drawn vehicles. It's really a wonderful experience. This optional tour will be available to purchase while you're on the trip. You don't have to do this in advance. What's nice is you can decide when you get there if you want to do this or not. Price-wise, probably $125 to $135-ish per person. And it would certainly, take you on the bus into Calgary, and you do all this included. So it's nice to think about. It would take your most of your day. But those of you that don't want to take the option, that's okay. There's a lot to see and do. You can go back and do the gondola. You could arrange to do horseback riding. Maybe we have some people out there that are adventurous, that love nature. There's also golfing. So maybe you want to do something on your own. I know we have all kinds of people in this group of different ages and different adventure skills and things. So there's so much to do in the Banff area. Maybe you want to go to the sulfur, like one of the hot springs, and dip in one of the hot springs pools and soak up all the mineral baths and get rid of all your aches and pains, whatever. There's a lot to see and do there. And our tour guide or the hotel concierge can certainly help you with that on that last day. We will have a farewell dinner. We always do. And this is the best way to get everybody together, gather up, and enjoy an experience and talk about, share pictures and talk about all the things that you've seen and done while on the tour. Then you would fly home on day 6. So usually we fly home kind of late morning. We get you to the airport and get you back on your flight back, and then I'll be waiting for you when you get back. So on the flyer, if you don't have a flyer, I know Jessica has them probably on her website. She can get you flyers. Let us know if you want a copy of the flyer. The trip again, August 23rd to the 28th of 2026. So actually, a year from right now, you will be on this tour. Isn't that funny? I just thought of that. Oh my gosh. So we have lots of time to plan, lots of time to think about it and save your money and start, planning for this wonderful adventure. But the regular rate on this is $4,189, and that includes everything that's listed on there except the optional tour. If you can make that final payment by check, again, you will save $100 per person from the base price, okay? If you make that final payment by check. And remember, deposit, final payment, okay? And if you make that final payment by credit card, that's okay. You forego the discount, but we absolutely accept credit cards, no fees at all. So remember that booking discount. Single supplement is $1,300. What that means is if you yourself don't want to travel with anyone, you want to have your own room and your own space, it's $1,300 additional to the price to have your own room and have kind of your own space in the hotel. But people always ask, why is it so much more? It's the hotel cost. It has nothing to do with anything else on the tour except the cost of the room. 2 people paying for a room is less than 1 person paying for the same room, right? So that's where the cost comes in. So here it is, our deposit. I wasn't sure of the amount, so forgive me. Limited space. Well, I shouldn't say limited space. We can go up to 50 people. We'd love to take 50 people. It certainly, we already have. Maybe we were 18 as of last week. We might already be growing on that number. But your deposit to guarantee your spot is $400. Final payment is 90 days prior. So it's not until next May of 2026. Okay. The travel protection plan, which I'll talk more about in a minute, is $425. If you want the insurance, You must purchase that with your deposit at the same time. So then your deposit would be $825 instead of $400. And the registration form on the back of the flyer does clearly state that, but make sure to consider you can use your own travel insurance as well. You do not have to purchase ours. It is just an optional for you. So how do I sign up? Oh my goodness, we have so many ways. First of all, there is a form on the back of the flyer, and I've got it on the screen here. What we do ask is that you fill this out as matching your passport. Your name must be legal, match your passport, because this is how we do your airline ticket, which has to match your passport. So it asks you all this information. And on there too, there'll be a place where it'll say your air city. So again, if you have a different member who's flying from a different city or a family member, you make sure to put that on there, or Gateway Airport. And then of course, all the information, whether you want the travel protection or not, all that is on this form. Okay. And then everything, like I said, if you have a flyer, all this information is found on the back of the flyer. So it is, at the top is where to mail checks to and where to mail payments to. On the right column is, the deposit amount, final payment, booking discount, insurance. And down on that right column, on the back of the flyer, it says cancellation fees. If you don't buy the insurance, it breaks all that down for you. So the back of the flyer is really full of information. So what I did is I pasted this right from the back of the flyer. And there are so many ways you can register for this trip. So at the very back at the top, you'll find this box. In the back top corner, it says reservation form, Majestic, Canadian Rockies, the date, and the booking number or the web code. That's very, very important to note, that web code. If you mail anything to our office, this is our address. Make sure to put attention Gleaner Life Getaway Tour so we know where that's coming from, what department that needs to go to. But if you notice, checks are payable to Premier World Discovery. And then down at the bottom, all your options. You can mail in a payment. You can email. You can scan your reservation form with your credit card information and email it to us. You can fax it. We still have a fax machine that works. You can call our reservations department toll free and speak to someone in our office. They're so kind and so welcoming. And again, remember to call anytime between like 12 and 7 p.m. or 12 and 6:30, so you can get there before they close, and their hours are on Pacific Coast time, right? Or you can go on our website and book it directly using the web code. If you're going to call or if you're going to go online, make sure you have that web code handy, because that's what you're going to need to connect you to the right trip, okay? Passports are required for this tour. And it's very important that you check the expiration dates of your passport. They have to be valid for 6 months beyond next August, right? So probably they should be going into like March of 27. Your passport should at least be good until 27. So please take a look at that and be very, very aware of that in advance, so you don't wait till the last minute and then you're in a panic because you have to renew that or update that. The trip itself will have the lovely Canadian funny money. We're their neighbors, so most of us have seen the Canadian money. Very colorful, very lovely. And at the final document briefing, we'll talk about money, but because a lot of people say, do we need to get Canadian dollars in advance? And I'm always like, sure, you can get some in advance, but you can also convert when you get there. And let me talk about kind of deposits and how that all works for you as well. So this is really important to know. The first star says deposit and TPP, which is travel protection, are fully refundable 100% up to 180 days prior to departure, which is about 6 months before August. So what would that be? February of next year. So from now until like mid-February of next year, March, April, May, June, yep. From now until February, everything is fully refundable. My advice to you would be to put the 180 days deadline on your calendar. So if a wedding comes up or something comes up, a party, a big, some event that comes up in your life and you have to cancel, make sure that you do that prior to 180 days. Then you get everything back, everything. Once you step inside of 180 days, from 179 days to the final payment date, which is 90 days out, there are a couple things apply. One, if the first dash is, if you did not purchase the optional insurance, your deposit will be refunded as a future travel credit. So you don't lose it. You can use it as a future travel credit. It's good for 24 months and you won't lose your deposit. If you purchase the travel protection, your deposit is fully refundable, 100%. This is inside 179 days to the final payment. Okay, so this is this window of time. You would get your deposit back fully refundable, and your travel protection would become a future travel credit. So just keep that in mind. And future travel credits are valid for 12 months from the departure date, not the date you cancel. Okay. And so know that, but this is part of our no loss deposit kind of plan. Here's our travel protection plan, which I mentioned earlier. So again, as I walk down this, fully refundable outside 180 days. If once you get past the final payment, this is where we get into like where insurance kicks in. If you, once you get past the final payment, the insurance then becomes non-refundable. So the $425 is non-refundable after the final payment. But if you bought the insurance, all we would need from you is if you have a medical emergency, right up to the morning of the trip, you have a medical emergency, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But if all we need is a doctor's note that states that this person cannot travel. So if you and your spouse, say it's a married couple traveling together and one of the spouses becomes ill and you both have insurance, you both are 100% refunded for the trip, just not the cost of the insurance. If you have two friends traveling together, okay, and one has to cancel for a medical emergency and you both have the insurance, you can both cancel and still be covered under the same 100% refund. But if one traveler cancels, but the friend still wants to go, and there is a single supplement that needs to be covered. So that will be, we'll discuss that. And if that situation happens, the refund comes out, or the single supplement comes out of the refund for the person who canceled. So that is pretty standard in our industry. Then there's also post insurance. Now, if you didn't buy the insurance, again, remember on the back of the flyer, there's cancellation fees and the percentages. If you cancel for any other reason that's not a medical emergency, let's say something suddenly comes up at the last minute, you can cancel up to 48 hours prior to the trip departure in writing, and we'll still be able to refund you 75% of your cancellation fees in a future travel credit. Okay. And then you also have post insurance. So once you depart on an airplane, you have trip interruption, trip baggage delay coverage, accident medical coverage, things like that. Many of our insurance doesn't cover us when we leave the country, right? That's something you also want to check. Maybe your insurance would cover you and there's a little, like you can get a waiver or a caveat, like a little addendum that'll cover you internationally, but many people don't. So we do offer this for that as well. And it's peace of mind. Again, you might have your own travel insurance. That's absolutely fine, but something to consider as you pay your deposit and plan ahead. Again, don't forget that booking discount, deposit, final payment. You can make that final payment by check. We'll give you that discount. And it's, $200 per couple, $100 per person. It's nice. I threw this in here as well to give you an idea of the temperatures. It never gets really hot there, which is really great. So you're in that 70, maybe a day like today, right? In Michigan, we have this beautiful weather. Should be around that 70 temperature. Cooler, of course, in the mountains and cooler on the glacier in mornings and evenings, but lovely travel temperatures. Surprisingly, doesn't get very, very hot. So really nice. So that is the end of my presentation. And I thank you again for hearing me out. So let's go ahead and open this up with Jessica and see if anyone has any questions for me.
Yeah, while people are kind of getting familiar with how they log in. We have somebody logging in right now. Okay. I wrote down a couple notes that I'd like to address. Just from a personal experience, I was able to go on the premier trip into Sedona. So I did write down a couple differences. Some people are very familiar with our Diamond Tour excursions. Those are our little Diamond Tour motor coaches that come from that leave from the home office. And I wanted to just talk about how those are a little bit different than Premier, for those who might not know. So Diamond Tours is pretty well known. Sorry, we've got somebody popping in and out here, and I want to make sure that they have the ability to get in. That it's, it leaves from the home office. They do that trip every week, and they know how to do it, and they pump it out. Premier elevates our motor coach trips. So we have a better food quality. I know that was a question in our survey that we've done, that we want to make sure that we're acknowledging that Premier's food was so good. And the offerings for food on your own are also just as good, if not better. The itinerary too is built exactly for what the trip needs. There's not a lot of hanging out at a mall for 4 hours in the middle of Nashville. You're going to be able to walk around, experience nature and everything. I know in Sedona, I was able to grab an Uber and just walk around Sedona at my leisure, but I could have done other things as well. So like Tracey mentioned, there's horseback riding opportunities and other little things that you can have the guide either help you with, or the hotel concierge. The other thing is the tour guide. Now, I know we have a couple of people who went to Sedona on here. Unfortunately, we were not able to get Clinton, but I've been assured that our tour guide is just going to be as exceptional. Clinton was our tour guide for Sedona, and he made the trip. The tour guide is extremely knowledgeable. They're going to share all of their information above and beyond what Tracey shared today, the hudas and everything like that. They're going to go into all the detail. And if they're nerdy like Clinton, we're going to be really, really excited about that because he was just such a wealth of knowledge. He talked just enough to let us know all of the cool things that were going on where we were driving, and let us also have a little bit of a break, but most of us wanted him to just keep talking. He was so knowledgeable. That's a little bit.
Can I mention something too, Jessica, really quick? So you all know, I did reach out to Clinton. Yes. I texted him personally and said, Gleaner wants you back. And he said, he's not licensed to do Canada. He said, let them know that I'm so sorry. I would absolutely do it. And so, of course, we have Canadian guides that are specialty is Canada, right? And they'll be just the same. I mean, that's what they do for a living. So you'll definitely enjoy your guide for sure. I've already requested a couple guides that I personally know as well. So hopefully we'll let you know.
So that's like my experience and the difference between our Diamond Tours trips, which tend to be our little, cheaper, more, I don't know what the right word is. Cheaper is probably the best way to do it. But, they're still a little bit entertaining, but Premier is going to really elevate that. And I'm excited for those who haven't got to experience Premier for the first time. You're going to be blown away. Another couple other things before we get right into questions is I have recorded this session. Some of you did kind of log in a little later. I'm going to be sending that out to our email blast list. Either if I can't get it done tomorrow, it'll be definitely sometime next week after the holiday. I can also send out flyers, but we do have a pretty robust website page on Gleaner's website, but it'll also take you to the online booking registration for Premier. I did also want to clarify that the pricing that we went over today is based out of Detroit. I know we have a couple Indiana folks here today with us and a few others that might not be local to Michigan. The best thing to do for those of you who are outside of the Detroit airport would be to call Premier. They're going to be able to give you the pricing for where you're flying out of and help you accommodate which airport is going to be the best choice. The other thing is there is a land only option. Someone did ask that. They had frequent flyer miles. They wanted to be able to use their own airfare. And there are a little bit of some things that go along with booking your own airfare. So I would just, again, also recommend calling Premier, let them know that you would like to book your own airfare so that they can make sure that you're covered with transfers. because those are not included. You do have to pay extra for those if you're not doing the land tour, I believe. And that's it. So if there are any questions, please go ahead and raise that hand icon. If you're on a phone, unmute, say your name so I know who we're talking to today. And please ask away. Oh, Tracey, you must have did a good job.
I will mention the land only, and thank you for mentioning that, Jessica, too, about the land only. I didn't think of that. So what happens is we remove the airfare, we remove the taxes and the fees, we remove the transfers from the airport to the hotel in Canada, right? So what happens is then you book your own air, and then you can, it's $75 one way in Canada to get the transfer included. I would highly recommend, it's $150 only, and it'll get you from Calgary to Banff. And it's, you want, trust me, for $150 round trip, it's an hour and a half from Calgary to Banff. You don't want to be paying for your own cab or your own Uber or any of that. Let us do your shuttle. And what we'll do is recommend the time of your flights. If you book your own flights, our office will say, okay, we'd like you to land by this time and depart after that time. Or perhaps you're staying longer. Some people want to stay longer. You're doing your own air. That's absolutely fine. Then you could just pay for the one way, the arrival day, and then you could just be on your own at the end. So absolutely an option for you. And just let us know, like Jessica said, if you want land only right from the start, so we can price it that way for you. There is a separate price, and it does remove all that, the air and taxes, fees, and transfers.
All right, we've got Lucinda Ruby that wants to go ahead and speak. Go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Hi, would you repeat again at what the deposit amount is for us? I went, clicked through the link on the Gleaner website the other day, and I was going through all the process, and it wanted me to pay like 2/3 of it. So I wanted to ask that again.
Nope, deposit's $400.
200 per couple.
Yep, 400 per person.
Oh, 400
per person. Yeah, 400 per person.
I'll try it again, but it was asking for $2,300.
Nope, it shouldn't. Maybe you were on the wrong website. I don't know. That's funny because, no. The back of the flyer has the deposit amount is 400, final payments 90 days. That's standard for US and Canada. Sorry about that. I don't know where you were looking. That's too bad. It's not that much. Good question, though.
Was that on the Premier website, Lucinda?
Yes, I put in the number 206712, and I went through the whole form online and got to the final page.
Did you click insurance? Did you add the insurance? Because that might have been why.
It would have been $2,000. Yes, but it still wouldn't have been $2,000.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. It should be it would be $825 each. Is all it should be. Unless it's 600. I don't think so. Let me look at the real quick. I'm going to take a peek at the flyer.
It's definitely 400. Yeah. I was just on it.
Yeah, I was going to say I want to look at the flyer. It's 400. So yeah. I don't know why it would have done that. We could certainly, I can contact the office and ask why that would be. That doesn't make any sense. All of our deposits are 400 for US and Canada.
And you're flying out. Well, I guess that wouldn't matter. Never mind. Yeah. Well, I'll make a note of it too, Tracey, and we can touch base about it. I can reach out tomorrow to my contact at Premier and or I'll try going through the process myself, and we'll go from there. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. All right. I don't see any other questions.
And I guess in closing for me, which I didn't say this sooner, earlier, but the Majestic Canadian Rockies tour is truly, if you want to do this tour, we'd love to have you. It is immersive. This is the one thing about this tour I love, when you're immersive in wildlife and scenery and just taking a step away from our busy lives and going to somewhere that is so serene and so majestic and breathtaking. You'll come back with really some lifetime memories and some beautiful photos, and just it's a really neat experience. And traveling together as the travel, the getaway club, Gleaner Getaway Club, it's like a family, right? So like I remember seeing everyone when they came back from Sedona. It was just everyone at the airport, all excited they came back, as you're experiencing this together, which makes it really wonderful. So thank you for your time, and I hope to see you on the trip. And we're always here for questions and answers if you need any more information. Jessica and I both.
Yes, I was just going to finish out by saying, if you find you have questions, yes, as you're processing everything tonight, you can feel free to shoot them to me. I can pass them off accordingly. Calling Premier also is always a great thing. Just do remember they are that Pacific Standard Time, so they're 3 hours at least from Michigan. So yeah, give yourself a little bit of maybe around lunchtime, call them around lunchtime to get in. But yeah, we'll make sure that your questions are answered. I cannot stress how amazing the Sedona trip was. So I know that this one's going to be just as captivating and inspiring and all the things. So I'm excited for that. And I guess we'll go ahead, and if there's no more questions, we'll go ahead and give you 5 minutes back from your meeting, and hope everybody has a beautiful evening tonight. Bye. Hope to see you there.